I'm really excited about his story because it's definitely a unique one when it comes to our kids. A unique birth story. He has a very unique start to life, and so we're going to talk about him today. So Shepherd's favorite thing to say right now is brum brum. That means car in Shepherd language. And he's always playing that something's scary. He's very, very into all kinds of interesting things right now. Things that don't make sense to him. Things that are interesting, like this giant spider, which he doesn't quite get why there's this giant spider. But it really interests him. He's just really interested in things that he doesn't quite get, which is really fun, in my opinion. I just love it. Can you say hi? Say hi, everyone. It's Shepherd. Okay, guys, I got him a toy, so hopefully he'll sit through some of this because he's not the type of baby right now, at his age anyways, where he wants to sit here and just listen to his mom talk. So, he's going to be playing with some toys, and I'm going to be talking to you guys. So, I want to start back when I was pregnant with Shepherd. We were very excited. It was really an exciting time because we really wanted another baby, and he came around pretty quickly. Him and Ebenezer are exactly 2 years apart by 1 day. His birthday is December 23rd, and he'll be 2 in December. And he just has been a blessing from day one. The pregnancy went really well with him. I did have a lot more pains and aches and some problems than I did in my other pregnancies. I had anemia with him, which was different for me. And my blood pressure was always very, very low, which I do typically get low blood pressure in pregnancy, but with him, it was a little bit more extreme. So we had a little bit of a rough pregnancy. And then when it came to his birth, you guys, my water broke with him on, so did I say his birthday was December 23rd? I meant his birthday is December 24th. He was born on Christmas Eve. Ebenezer's birthday is December 23rd. So I got that confused. My water broke with him on Ebenezer's birthday on December 23rd. And this was my very, very first baby that my water has broken with at all. I've never had my water broke before, like just naturally, just boom, pop, the water's broken. Crazy. So I thought for sure my water broke, like I'm gonna be going to labor with this baby. We're gonna have a baby in a couple of hours. So a little bit of history, I usually have my babies very, very quickly once I go into labor. The last 4 babies have been born within less than 3 hours. So I was expecting him to come very, very quickly, and that just did not happen at all. Nothing happened for 36 hours, almost about that 36-hour time, and we had planned a home birth with him, and so I was getting really nervous. We were going to end up in the hospital. I wasn't sure if I was going to handle that very well because we'd usually have a home birth, but obviously having your water broken for that long is not very safe, and you puts you at risk and your baby at risk for quite a few things. So my midwife and I and Jason, we decided it would be the best for me and for him, for the baby, that we head into the hospital and get some Pitocin and get the labor started. They had to bump me up the Pitocin dosage 3 times, you guys, before he decided that contractions were okay in my uterus, I guess. So it was really intense. I still had a natural labor, which was awesome, but it was the most intense labor that I have had to date. Definitely intense. Pitocin with no medication is not a joke. So yeah, that is very, very hard. You feel like death is around the corner. So he was born in the early hours of the morning. I pretty much labored, his labor was the longest I've had in like 5, 6, since Hanny probably. It was my longest labor. It was 6 hours long, and when he was finally born, he was amazing. Absolutely beautiful. The experience of the hospital was hard and difficult and not what I dreamed of, but seeing him made all of it worth it. He immediately from the start was wide awake, you guys. I'm talking eyes wide open, acting like he was a 3-month-old baby, just wide awake, looking around the room. It was the weirdest thing because most of my babies were born with their eyes shut, or they kind of blink, like open and shut and open and shut, but not this little guy. And he just, that was his personality from the beginning. He just like, he didn't sleep as well as my other kids did. He was a very, very light sleeper as a newborn. He was such a light sleeper that we would put him to sleep. And you know, most newborns, when they start to wake up from a sleep, they move their arms and they kind of start to yawn and their eyes slowly open. Not Shepherd. Shepherd went from dead asleep to deer in a headlight, eyes open, I'm awake. And we were just like, what is up with this? He was the lightest sleeper and he would be up in an instant. You could not get him to go back to sleep. But he was never crabby. He was very happy, very sweet, very gentle, very like a gentle spirit about him. When he was about, I would say 3 weeks old, I noticed that my milk supply, because I was breastfeeding, was not doing as well as I had expected, and he wasn't gaining weight at the rate that you would expect a newborn to gain, which is about half to 1 ounce a day. And my midwife was kind of keeping an eye on him, and we were watching him really closely, but it got to the point where he kind of stopped gaining weight and my milk supply was dropping. So we had him weighed a couple of times. When he was born, he was 7 pounds, 3 ounces, and when he was 3 weeks old, he weighed 7 pounds, 2 ounces, I believe. So that was not really that great. So my midwife sent me to a lactation consultant with him, and they checked his latch and everything and discovered that he had what they thought was a tongue tie. And so we thought, okay, if it's a tongue tie, we'll just go get it fixed and it'll be easy. But Shepherd decided that his parents didn't need easy at that time. So we took him to a specialist in town. Come here, come here. And they looked at him and evaluated him and did some tests on him, and we found out that he had a very severe tongue tie. It is underneath the tongue, and it's called a posterior tongue tie, where you don't even see the webbing. So when you lift your tongue up, you see webbing under your tongue, but that webbing for him is actually inside the underside of his tongue. And so the specialist at that time did not recommend us getting it clipped, if you will. He would need to go to a children's hospital to do that. It's much more of an invasive procedure, and they just felt like if he's doing okay, if he's nursing okay, if he does start to gain weight, let's just leave it and see. They gave us exercises to do to help strengthen the muscles in his jaw, because he also really struggled with, he couldn't move his jaw. Like when he would cry, he wouldn't open his mouth. It'd be more like, like he just didn't open his mouth. And I thought it was really strange, but when they evaluated him, they had said that he had very, very poor to no muscle tone in his jaw and in his muscles at all in his mouth, like in his tongue. His tongue never came to the front of his mouth. It was always stuck in the back. And the amazing part of this story, you guys, is that Shepherd was still able to nurse. Somehow he was using his cheeks. Usually babies use their jaw muscles to suck the milk out, but he was using his cheeks to suck the milk out, which was, everyone thought was amazing and incredible, because most babies just, if they have such a severe tongue tie, they can't even do any kind of nursing. Usually you have to get a bottle. So he was doing really good in that aspect. So we waited another week and he did gain a couple ounces. So at that time, because the procedure was going to be invasive, we decided not to do it. So when he was about, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here because in between his 4 weeks and about 7 months, we just continued with him to do the exercises that the physical therapist told us to do on his mouth, and to continue just working with him. So when he was 4 months old, we moved from Washington State to North Dakota, and that was a really interesting time. I had not weighed him during our move. I had not weighed him when we got to North Dakota because I simply didn't have a doctor there yet, but he seemed great. He was always happy. He was always energetic. He would, like, we didn't see any signs of him not gaining weight, except for when you see your baby all the time, you don't notice that they're growing, right? Well, with him, we weren't noticing that he wasn't growing. So from 4 months, when we weighed him, he was 13 pounds, like 9 ounces or something like that at 4 months. And when we got to North Dakota, when he was 7 months old, after we'd been there for a couple months, I noticed that he wasn't growing out of his clothes. That was actually the first time I had thought he's not growing, is that he had been in his 0 to 3, 3 to 6 month clothes from 4 to 7 months, which wasn't really typical or normal of a baby. So I decided to go on Amazon. I bought a baby scale. So the scale arrived and I weighed him. I took his clothes off, I put him on the scale and I weighed him, and it said he was 13 pounds, 4 ounces. And that really shocked me. I literally thought the scale was wrong because I'm thinking it's been 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. So it was 3 months since I had weighed him previously, and he weighed more. He was 13 pounds, 9 ounces, and now 3 months later, he's 13 pounds, 4 ounces. That doesn't make sense. I thought the scale was wrong, I honestly did. So I went out and I got new batteries for the scale. I put him on him again, and it said the same thing. So at that point, I called our midwife in Washington State, and I said, you know, I'm not sure what to do. He's not gaining weight. He's happy though, and he's like thriving. Like I don't know why he wouldn't be upset if he wasn't eating enough or not doing enough. So she suggested that we go ahead and start giving him some goat's milk and see if that helped him gain weight. If he didn't gain weight on a supplement besides breast milk, then we would need to look into possible heart issues and other stuff that really scared me at the time and really got me nervous. But luckily we started him on goat's milk when he was 7 months old, and by the time he was 1, he had gained, he was 17 pounds when he turned 1, so he had gained about 4 pounds from 7 months to 12 months, which was really, really good. So my milk supply pretty much started to dry up, and by the time he was 11 months old, he was weaned and drinking bottles of goat's milk. So to this day, you guys, he is doing okay with that. He loves his milk and his jaw is good. He can move his tongue, but he's almost 2 now, and we're starting to notice that the tongue tie could possibly be interfering with his speech development. So we are looking down this road of, do we need to go get the procedure done? We're going to be taking him to another specialist to see about that. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see where that goes, but otherwise he's doing really, really well. He has not had any more issues with weight gain or like jaw, mouth issues. He's just doing really, really good. As you guys know, if you watch our vlogs, is that he is one of the most happiest babies on the block type of thing. He's always smiling. He's very, very sweet. He's very gentle. He just has a spirit about him that is just the sweetest thing in the world. We're so blessed to have him in our life. He is so kind-hearted, and I just see him doing amazing things as he gets older. Obviously, everyone in this family loves him and adores him, and he's just our perfect little shepherd. So before we end the vlog, I know everybody's been dying to know this. is how do we pronounce his full name, and I meant to put that at the beginning of the video, but I forgot. His name is, and I'll insert it here, is Shepherd Charles Sky. And we picked Shepherd. We did not have a name for him until I was pretty much in labor with him. We had seen I Love Keith Green, and that's how we came up with his name, is that Keith Green is a singer, if you guys have not heard of him. We had like an old record of his, and it was a shepherd, it said Shepherd on it, and I thought, Shepherd, that's his name, I think that's it. And Jason loved it, and so we named him Shepherd. Charles is after Jason's stepdad, who had a really awesome impact on his life as far as his religion and just really helping him to be a good person and giving him some really good morals and values. And he actually passed away a couple of years ago, and so we just wanted to honor his name. And so that's why we picked Charles. And then Sky is because we lived in Montana when we found out we were pregnant with him, and Montana is big sky country. So we named him Sky, which I thought was really, really cute. So Shepherd Charles Sky is his name, and we're just really blessed and happy that he's with us and in our life. So one of Shepherd's very favorite things to do right now is go outside, ride his bike, enjoy the fresh air, and just be a really big boy. You love it. He loves it.
You spin around, you laugh to yourself, and I see you shine in every color, resting your head in my arms. You sing la la la. Sorrow.